most of the money market funds will try to imitate the interest of the economy as much as possible. So as interest rates rise, they will be rising each and every day, and therefore you're not losing any money. Hey guys, what's up? I hope you're doing well. The year has begun in earnest. People are trying to catch up with their new year resolutions. I hope you're doing well. I hope everything is catching up well for the new year, and I hope you are geared up for 2024 financially speaking. So anyway guys, welcome back to my channel. As usual, please subscribe, share. Make sure you are sharing this information with as many people as possible, because that's how we create awareness. Anyways, today I'm going to talk about something that most of you would be interested in. It's called certificate of deposits, also called fixed deposit accounts, also called deposit accounts, also called sometimes high yield savings account, depending on what you want to call them. And then I'm going to compare that to money market funds. These two things are the main saving platforms. So I know one of the things you could have resolved to do in the year 2024 is to actually start the process of saving some money. As you know, the way the economy is going, you always need to have some money, saved somewhere that can actually take you through some periods and of course help you build wealth. That's how you start, right? It's just one of the investment options that you could actually have in your portfolio. So we're going to look at money market funds versus CDs. What are money market funds and what are CDs? I've done so many videos on money market funds. Please watch my channel. It's one of the investment options I do actually encourage for those who are starting the process of investing or saving to use a lot. And so I'm kind of biased towards money market funds even from the beginning. But then there are also certificate of deposits or fixed deposit accounts that I know most people would still want to use. So I want to look at the differences. Money market funds are basically just like mutual funds. It's just like a group of people or investors pulling their money together in one big pool, and then that money is given to investment firm or a mutual fund or whatever, or a professional investment person to manage that money and then give us returns. Most of the money market funds are invested in what we call debt securities, right? So they invest in bills, bonds, corporate bonds, municipal bonds, and stuff like that. So they lend that money out, get their interest back, and then they give us part of the interest that they get back. So that's basically what it's like a chama really for Kenyans. It's like a chama, but more advanced type of chama, whereby your money is given to that investment firm and it's managed professionally. So that's a money market fund. For certificate of deposits or fixed deposit accounts, it's whereby you have a savings account which is fixed for a period of time. You give your money to, let's say, a bank, for instance. In this case, it's the bank most of the time, right? You give your money to the bank. They have that money for a period of time, and at the end of that period, they give it back to you with interest, depending on the agreement you had in the beginning of what percentage you will be getting. So let's say you're getting 10%, you give them 100,000, then you will get your 100,000 at the end of the period. Let's say it's doing for, most of the time it's 3 months, 6 months, 1 year. Some go up to 5 years sometimes, depending on what period you're comfortable fixing your money. But remember, the money is locked in an account with a very specific interest rate for that period of time. At the end of the day, you get your money back and your interest. Okay, so if you are getting 10% annually, then you just, if it's 1 year, you just get your 110,000 Kenyan shillings, for example. In that case, these are the differences between money market funds. Let me know if you understand that clearly in the comment section. If you don't, I can still explain it, but that's the basic explanation you can give. So what are the differences, and which one should you actually go for? Should you actually go for money market funds, or should you go for certificate of deposits or fixed deposit accounts? Which one is best? And I know this is one of the things that most people do talk about, and most people do debate and ask me questions of like, Ken, should I just go with my bank and get like a fixed deposit account, or should I go and get a money market fund account? Now, like I said earlier, I'm biased somehow towards money market fund accounts because I use them a lot. I've also used fixed deposit accounts for a long time, so I'm quite conversant with both of them. Number one, I would say we're going to look at different factors that could drive you to any of them, right? So number one, the first thing you want to look at when you have some money to invest is, what is your goal? What do you want to achieve with that investment? So if, let's say, you have money that you want to put into a house, for example, let's say you want to buy a house and you want to put up a deposit at the end of the day, and therefore you decide, okay, I have this money already, but I don't want to buy the house now. I want to buy the house in 3 months. So therefore I want to just put this money somewhere and forget about it. I would say in that case, you might want to put that money in a fixed deposit account whereby the principal is constant and is safe, which is the same as money market fund account, but a bit different in terms of interest. But you could say, oh, I have this money for the house, but I would like to get, in the 3 months that I'm going to buy the house, I want to get a very fixed return on it. So I want to get 10% or 15% on it. You want to be sure and certain of the money that you're going to get from it. You can put that into a certificate of deposit. So the first thing is know what that money is for. I would say if there's a very specific timeline and a very specific goal that you're going to use that money for, then you should go for with a fixed deposit account. Why? That's what we call certainty. You are sure you're going to get that money at that particular time when you need it and with a specific return. So if you saved it for 10% in 3 months, you're sure getting your 10% in 3 months. There's no fluctuations in interest rates. So I would say CDs or fixed deposit accounts are good with certainty in that you know very well how much you're getting and by when. That's one advantage of CDs versus money market funds. So I would say in that one, CDs score 1 and money market fund 0. So then we go to the other thing, which is accessibility. Between money market funds and fixed deposit accounts, which one is more accessible? Remember, when you put your money away, you want to be in a position to access that money. Sometimes you also don't want to be in a position to access it. So when it comes to accessibility, I would say this: you want to do a money market fund if and only if you want to be able to access that money. So most of the time when I tell people in Kenya and Africa that you don't have to save your emergency fund somewhere like a bank account, basically losing your money to inflation, losing your money every single day as you wait for your emergency to happen. If you had an emergency fund, you would rather invest it and get some money from the money market fund, right? So with money market fund, it means it's liquid money. You can access that money at any point in time, and you can use that money any day, anytime. You can even have a card for it if you want sometimes. You can transfer it to M-Pesa for those who are in Kenya. It's a very simple process. It's liquid money. So despite the fact that you are investing and getting those returns from the money market fund, is still liquid money. With CDs or fixed deposit accounts, remember, it's fixed for a very specific period of time. That means you're not in a position to access that money whenever you need it. And if you have to, the con here is you have to pay penalty fees. And sometimes the penalty fee is so high, you end up losing all the money you might have saved by that time. So it's very important. Know the goal, number one. Number two is accessibility. You want it to be accessible to you. If you want it to be accessible to you, make sure you're using a money market fund instead of a certificate of deposit or a fixed deposit account, because with that one is locked down, and if you have to do it, you have to pay early termination fees, which can be so high and detrimental to that investment instrument. The other reason why you'd want to make a decision in between them is you are looking at returns. This is one of the most important things. So you're looking at which one is likely to give you more returns or better returns, because all the time you're investing, you want to get better returns for your money. So between money market funds and CDs or fixed deposit accounts, which one will actually give you better returns? Now, this is debatable. Most of the time in the West, you find that the CDs or the fixed deposit accounts can give you higher returns than money market funds. But in Africa, and in Kenya specifically, because I know most of my viewers are Kenyans, you will get better returns with money market funds. And therefore, money market funds will win on that one. Why? Most of the money market funds will try to imitate the interest of the economy as much as possible. So as interest rates rise, they will be rising each and every day, and therefore you're not losing any money. The problem with fixed deposit accounts is that you can get good returns, but only if you are lucky enough that for the period of time that you fix that money, the interest rates have remained constant or even sometimes gone lower. Remember, you are fixing it at a very specific number, or if it's 10%, it's 10%, if 15 is 15% for that period of time, whether it's 1 year, 6 months, 3 months, whatever period you decide. Remember, it's fixed. So if the interest rates are rising, like we've seen in the last 2 years or so, then it means you are at that constant rate, and therefore you're getting lower than you're actually getting. So there's an opportunity cost there when it comes to certificate of deposits or fixed deposit accounts. Now, it's okay if that's all you wanted. Like I said earlier, know the goal. That's the most important part. But if you want to get some more returns, then you would end up losing money when you put your money in fixed deposit accounts, because when we are basically getting higher returns based on the economic conditions, you are getting your low constant return on the fixed deposit account, and you cannot actually break it because there's the termination fees as well. So with money market funds, most of the time you end up getting higher returns. You can end up getting higher returns with money. Like right now, for example, in Kenya, you find that most of the money market funds are giving us 16 0.5%. Now, if you look at the fixed deposit accounts, and remember I have both, they're actually offering 10% because they're also investing in some of these instruments. They're investing in bonds, they're investing in bills, they're investing in these debt securities as well. And therefore, they have to get their cut before they give it back to you, right? So sometimes that's why I say it doesn't make sense to actually use fixed deposit accounts, especially in Kenya. So in this case, they're getting their cut, then they give you back. I would rather just go to the source and buy the things that they actually invest in. So in this case, in terms of returns, I would say money market funds are better returns, especially in Africa. Money market funds will give you much higher returns.